Hello and welcome to another edition of the Thursday Night Grind. My name is Matt, and every Thursday night I go onto YouTube and I sharpen something on the bench at the American Edge, which is a sharpening business that I run out of my basement in New Hampshire. And tonight I'm really excited because tonight is a specialty knife, but really what I want to share with you tonight is a story. And if you have seen my 21 reasons to start a sharpening business, you would know that building relationships is one of those reasons. If you haven't seen that yet, check out the description and you can see a little link, download that. You will get that in addition to like the PDF of the 21 reasons just straight up. I will send you by email an explanation of each of those 21 reasons. And then obviously, or maybe not obviously, but all of that is guiding you to the Guild of Professional Sharpeners, because if you want to start a sharpening business, there's no better place to do it than in the Guild of Professional Sharpeners. But what happened is somebody dropped off this knife. If you have never seen this knife, you'd be like, what the heck is that? Right? Because this is a very specialty knife. And I happen to have the exact same one because I do the exact same thing that these people do. But when I got this, I reached out and I said, yo, do you guys process chickens? Of course, this came with a few other knives that are also used for processing poultry. And that is what started a relationship. They said, yeah, and actually we're processing a bunch of birds in 2 weekends. Like, you want to come check it out? And I was like, yes. I roll up on the place and they're raising birds exactly the way I aspire to. And if you don't care about raising meat birds, just skip ahead a little bit. But what they're doing, they use the, not the Salatin, but the John Suskovich style chicken tractors. And the way that works is you put the meat birds, as a special variety of bird, in this thing. We call it a tractor, although it takes a while to figure out it's not really a tractor. But what it is, it's a cage, and it keeps the predators out and it keeps the chickens in. But you move it every day. You move it one tractor's length so that the birds are on fresh grass every day. The grass that they were on is, all of their fertility is left on that patch, but they get fresh grass every day. There's a trough and a water in there. And there's all sorts of really good reasons to raise birds this way. And I would argue that you can't get close. Like maybe like I just harvested some roosters out of my flock, which I'll get to. But I was going to say you probably can't get a better bird than one that's raised this way. But anyway, that just spawned this whole relationship. So I went over there. I saw their whole operation. Like, they've been doing it a little bit longer, quite a bit longer. So there's a lot for me to learn there. And then later on, I saw that they put up something on Facebook where they were building a tractor, chicken tractors for sale. And then I was like, yeah, like I could make one of those. I actually bought the plans. Like, I bought the PDF from John Suskovich. I have the plans. I have the wood shop. I could go do that. But I realized that with this business, it makes more sense for me to sharpen knives in my studio than it does for me to, instead of sharpening knives, build a chicken tractor, especially when these people who I really like they're great people, are doing it. They're like, I'm supporting them in this thing they're experimenting with, right? Like this little side hustle of their own. They've gone through several iterations and they've made changes along the way. So I'm getting a better quality product than what I would get. And then it also furthers the relationship. Like, upon placing the order for a chicken tractor, they're like, yo, we also just got a new plucker. And if you ever need it, let me know. And I did, and I used it for those roosters that I harvested last weekend, and it was a game changer. Like, I pluck them all by hand, right? You scald them, you pluck them. It's a bear, dude. Having a plucker, it turned like that processing of a few birds, like it cut the timeline in half. It's crazy. But anyway, like, that's just part of the relationship. So they delivered the chicken tractor. They let me borrow the plucker. They had feed left over from their last run, so I bought some feed off them. They're letting me borrow a thing for a bird. Like, I hope that by supporting them, like, this deal is mutually beneficial. But I feel like This is a really, really great relationship, and it would never have started if I didn't reach out and ask them about this knife that they dropped off for me to sharpen. So that is one reason among many. And actually, if you've ever listened to my interview I did with Nick Loper at Side Hustle Nation, you'll know that in that episode with him, I shared that the biggest benefit that I had not expected going into knife sharpening was the opportunity to build relationships and to be engaged and involved with my community, right? And now that I see that, I try to be purposeful about acting on it and being a contributing member to my community, right? Offering a valuable service, growing relationships from that. But it is just one of the many reasons to get into sharpening. So thank you for that story. Now let's go to the bench because there are a few things I want to talk about with this knife. So what we're looking at here is called a culling knife. And the reason it has this design is that the process that's used for culling a chicken, which is a word used to take the life of a chicken, is you hang it upside down in a cone, you pull its head through, you clean the feathers away, and then you slit its throat and you stab it through its mouth to stab its brain. You may also make another slice on the other side. So what you want here is a very sharp knife because you want that to be a very like a razor blade cut and then puncture the brain. So the process from living to dead is very fast, and then they hang out in the cone for a little bit and bleed out. So hence the the stabbing action. You want a very narrow blade, and then you want this sharp. That length is just about right for a single pass. Although as I'm getting better, I still require maybe like that to get all that I need. I'm not proficient enough in culling yet, but you'll see the guys that are real good. It's pretty much, and then like they can line up a few and do a bunch all at once. And then the other thing I want to call out here is this is a Dexter knife, SaniSafe, Dexter Steel, National Sanitation Foundation, not the National Science Foundation, right? Is what's written on this knife. I will tell you, I'm not particularly impressed with these. If you find anybody who's making a culling knife out of a high quality steel, I would be interested. I don't feel that this knife takes a fantastic edge, and I'm not particularly impressed with how it holds its edge. But then again, I'm the type who has high standards, right? Like this is the knife I always use. This is that Carter cutlery with the white #1 in the middle, clad between stainless steel on either side, forged weld. It's honestly, like, I know knives are very personal, but it's hard, in my opinion, to get a better knife than that. And so I would be, if I saw in my man Ryan here, if my man Ryan came out with a culling knife, I'd be all up in his business because I would be interested to trying that out. Okay, but back to this knife, the one that we have, the one that we're working with. Notice too that with how narrow this is, like getting it on the bench is really hard. But what there is a flat spot back here at the bolster. So when I was doing this on the Edge Pro, I could rest this flat part on the bed of the Edge Pro and get the knife. It's still not ideal because you're still at the very edge of the table on the Edge Pro. What I'm going to show you today is another system that I'm working on using a few work sharp systems and a paper wheel to finish it. The other thing I wanted to show you, so I did this knife, I think it was not this year, but the year before. And while not in, I get knives in much worse shape, right? But that is certainly not the worst knife I've ever seen. I was wondering, and I meant to share this with the people that I have grown this relationship with, if we keep a ceramic hone, because what I didn't show you is early when I got it, I was feeling for a burr, and I did feel like the edge had rounded over. It doesn't feel particularly bad at the moment, but I was wondering if a couple strops on a hone, running out of good paper here, would make it worse. That did not help out much. Get a fresh piece here, and I mean, that would be a market improvement if you were in the field. Still not great. You see there's a nick in there. Look forward to getting that out. So I mean, it's still not great, but I would suggest having a hone or even a strop with you, because this has been through, well, they have a couple of these, and I think they do, I think they have 4 tractors now doing 30 birds a piece. So we're up, you know, we've seen arguably a couple hundred birds with this. But yeah, a few more passes, like, and that would keep you in action throughout the day. All right, but anyway, it's still not ideal, still not perfect. So what we're gonna do, we don't need to cut new bevels, right? I'm gonna go right to the work sharp. I'm also going to, I believe I probably did this at, I might, you know what, because I see that edge folding over, I'm gonna do it at 21 degrees. I was considering going shallower. If I had a steel that I was more confident in, I would consider an 18 or even a 15 degrees. But you know, they see feathers and some bone in the neck. Like it's not just flesh that they're seeing. So let's keep it at 21 degrees, and I will show you the system that I'm working on. So what you're looking at here is 2 work sharp systems. This is the work sharp Ken Onion knife sharpening system with the blade grinding attachment on each. On this one, this is work sharp's coarse belt. On this one, it is work sharp's fine belt. So the system that I'm working through for other residential cutlery is to cut bevels on the 1x30, which you've seen on this channel a lot by now. Go right from the 1x30 to the coarse belt on the work sharp, move from the coarse belt to the fine, and then what I have been doing is finishing after the fine on the leather wheel on the Tormek, and recently I just started using the honing wheel and the paper wheel sharpener. Bottom line is I just like trying new things and testing stuff out. And what I'm interested with this one is, since there is so little knife to get on the bed of the Edge Pro, I'm hoping that by capturing this flat part on the bed of the work sharp, I can get a nice edge quickly. So I will fire them up here and you can see how this goes. It's going to be like, and the other cool thing is with this, you can see the burr building up and falling off. So I expect to do about 2 passes either side over here, and then 2 passes either side over here. But if I see something that catches my eye, I might change that mid sharpening. And I have them both set to 21 degrees. Now I'm getting the burr. There we go. Okay. Okay, back to the bench here. So you can see that process was relatively quick. Looking back on it, it did take me a few passes on the coarse belt to build up a burr, a few more than I was expecting, because maybe I didn't do it at 21 degrees last time, or I don't know. But anyway, that is nice. I do like to, I find that for some reason it helps if there's anything left to wipe it down before I do my test. That is a system I'm not totally sold on yet because so much depends on, so here's what's going on, right? I'm doing a slack belt grind the whole way, right? So you're going to get a convex edge. And then I'm finishing it on a wheel spinning at 3,400 RPM and like and I'm eyeballing it. Like, so I think when I get my hand really trained, it'll be even better. Ooh. But so anyway, it's a system I'm working on. I hold the Edge Pro as the standard that I have to compare with. But that's the system I'm working on and I'm thinking through. You see, it does put a nice edge on it, but okay, so that concludes episode 34 of the Thursday Night Grind. So remember, if you go back to the playlist, the Thursday Night Grind playlist, you're going to see tons of videos on sharpening stuff. When I got started, I had the question in my mind, like, geez, is there going to be enough content to do something new every week? And it has not been a problem at all. Just to recap, what you saw tonight was sharpening a culling knife, a very specialized purpose knife. The story that goes with it and how I'm using the sharpening business to grow relationships and how I'm supporting other people hustling out there with the money that comes in from the sharpening. And I didn't even share in the beginning that the whole reason I started sharpening was to add resilience to my homestead, to grow more food, to implement systems. It's all connected, man. And then what you also saw was a new system I'm trying out, using a few belt grinders and finishing on a paper wheel hone. It's not that I'm disappointed with any systems I have. I'm just perpetually curious about different ways to solve the same problem, which is dull knives. And there is no shortage of dull knives in the world. Make sure you subscribe and hit the thumbs up. Hit the bell, because every Thursday night I'm coming on YouTube and I'm sharpening something on the bench, and you never know what it's going to be. It's just whatever the customers drop off. So again, if you're interested in the whole idea of hustling, making a little dough on the side, and doing so with a sharpening business, make sure you check out guildofsharpeners.org, and I'll see you there. Thank you.